Alright, here I am. Today is Saturday, I think it's the 9th. The gym is shut. To be fair, I am a little bit early. So, while I'm here, it's actually going to be my 24th hour of Jiu Jitsu training this week. So, that's pretty exciting, a whole day of training. So yeah, maybe later on I'm going to do some looking back and reflecting on how the last 24 hours of training has been. We'll check it out, think about how I've progressed, what I'm looking forward to, and then maybe a bit of a revelation about what the next steps are. Alright, well, I'm going to wait for these guys to get here. While I'm here, I'm going to warm up my shoulders, do a little bit of hanging, and get ready for Jiu-Jitsu. Okay, well, it is later on. I've finished my session now. I'm back home, just doing a little bit of video editing. So I'm just going to reflect on the last 6 months, maybe a bit longer, but the last 24 hours of training. And yeah, first off, fairly obvious point to make, I'm absolutely loving it. Maybe a little bit obsessively as well. But sometimes the consistency hasn't been great, but that's mostly in terms of like regularity when we train, numbers, the amount of people that turn up and who turns up. What I'm going to be doing next year, or for at least the next 2 years anyway, I'm going to be moving to China, Shenzhen. I'm pretty excited about that. I've been doing a bit of research into different gyms. I feel like I found particularly one that I might want to get into, and it looks like it's a lot more serious, a lot more of a step up. They compete regularly, and I could try gi if I want to as well. That would be pretty cool. But yeah, it's been a really cool way to introduce myself to the sport, or to the martial art, I suppose, by doing it with a bunch of people that are really, really cool, really, really down to earth. We're all on a sort of similar level, and it's been a really nice sort of soft way to get into it. There's no sort of pressure to compete. In fact, there's not even any pressure to roll sometimes if you don't want to. Forward to what's to come, but also really thankful, really grateful for the training that I've had so far from Justin and Daniel, and a little bit from Brandon as well, and the people that I've rolled with as well. In terms of the next couple of years and the vlog, I hope I can carry it on. Like I said, I've done some research, found a gym. I'm going to contact in the next couple of weeks and send them a link for this vlog, and hopefully they'll be up for letting me continue to document my journey. Tried to do this year as well, but being respectful of the people that I roll with. Obviously, this is a vlog about me and my journey through Jiu-Jitsu. So, I am really going to be showing the majority about the stuff about me. But at the same time, also, I don't want to give away my coach's training for free on the internet. So it's about striking that balance, and I hope I can really sell that to the next place as well. But yeah, we'll see how that goes. I'll keep you guys posted, and if I hear anything from them. Anyway, let's just recap on some highlights from the last. So I always sort of felt like I was defending all the time initially. I'm rolling with guys that are much bigger than I am, so I was often trying to do like try and get into that half guard a lot of the time. And yeah, rolling with bigger guys, it can be frustrating. I think you always hear that rumor that it doesn't matter how much bigger you are in Jiu-Jitsu, you can outdo your opponent, but it didn't feel like that a lot of the time. I just always felt like I was being in a protective, defending sort of mode. Or even, when you're learning about it as well, you're picking up a skill, just making silly mistakes. I was giving up my back a lot, or I was sort of putting my head down quite a lot, and putting my head into these silly places. Almost under someone's armpit to be taken into a guillotine or a das. So yeah, it was frustrating initially to be rolling against these bigger people and also not really knowing what's going on not really fully understanding some of the things that we were drilling even. It was really good. We learned a lot of basics in the beginning, stuff that was helpful to know. But then obviously when we started to try and upgrade it to some more sort of difficult stuff, you've got to have your arm, you've got to be a lot more technical, you've got to be a lot more specific, and making sure you've got your head on the right side of the other person's head, or make sure you're getting the right arm secured. So it was always difficult. And just going back to, being with those bigger guys, the space that's created between being a lot smaller and rolling against someone who's much longer, it makes it really difficult to roll. Whether that be trying to find my footing or against a hip or against a knee, like you'll see in a minute, it was difficult. Or whether it was trying to move around the body in the appropriate way when they're so much longer. Or you'll see here where I'll be trying to put my foot, see, switching the head around there, and then Rob's got a huge spread, and I can't really reach over towards his ankle with my foot. It's a nightmare. It's like climbing a jungle gym. I've said it many times before. And there again, see, it's cool. You just learn to adapt it, and so here I'm going to take the knee instead of at the heel, which, as you can see, is really quite far away. And again, there's such a big space in between myself and Rob there that it just makes it a lot more difficult. I guess I would probably bump him down towards me. Yes, it was difficult, frustrating in the beginning for sure. And then there's things that we've learned that I've just completely forgotten, like this Das choke, for example. I don't think I've ever performed one, and it'd be pretty solid, but I've never done one in a roll for sure. I'm sure I've been in that position where we've been sort of north and south, and I've had the head trapped, as you can see there. But some of these things, they're so technical, it's really a case of trying to remember them from time to time. And if you just drill it 5 or 6 times, and then the next week you might not train, and then the week after that you might have completely forgotten what it was that we were training. So it's difficult trying to remember everything all the time, but it's also difficult trying to practice it. This was when we were trying to do the truck. I mean, a stupid suggestion on my part, and fair play to Justin for just being able to train it for us. But I mean, I couldn't even remember. I couldn't tell you what part of the truck this is, for example. And so yeah, it's just all of these things that have been complicated or difficult or technical have been really hard. But there have been times when I've really felt improvement coming along. So Adam's a very, very, very strong guy here, and it's difficult to try and lock those triangles in. Yeah, so I'm just gonna look over some of the highlights I've been pretty pleased with so far. So this here is just a counter for Rob trying to get that Achilles heel lock. He's gonna push me over, then I'm gonna get back up. I'm just pressurizing him down now, just trying to let him take my weight on his body, even if it is just on his legs. But he manages to roll me over, and that's a good opportunity for me to flick my leg in. If I can get inside of his foot there, stand up. See, he's blocking that with his ankle under my armpit. I managed to escape that, come around, and now I want to move to the side. I've already got his arm. And see here, there's a bit of a mistake. Now I sit up nice and tight to his arm and pull it out. And there's a really good submission. I was pleased with that one. And again, I've said before, a cheeky juke from this week, you'll see later. And this is one of my favourite parts. I don't think Ollie saw this one coming. Listen to this.
What's that? Gamora from God? Is that the thing?
Yeah, it's good fun. Again, like I was saying, sorry, I've tried to be respectful of everybody that we've rolled with, and I'm only showing you these ones because it's showing my progress. I'm not trying to diminish anyone else's skill or ability, and it is my vlog, so I'm not going to be demonstrating necessarily how many times Rob's got me in a submission. This was probably one of the days where I felt most confident. We hadn't trained for a few weeks, but I haven't rolled with Blair before. but I was feeling nimble and light, and it felt good to be in that situation. But there are times when you have to remember that you are rolling with people that are much better than you. So here, I thought I was going for that omoplata. He defends it very well. And then this is sort of embarrassing. He just rolls around with me, really. Pretty sure there we go, a triangle as well around my head and arm. I escaped that arm. Couldn't have been better placed, the camera here, really. And then he's going to go for that submission, bending my arm back. Cheeky wry smile. And yeah, the submission there. So yeah, okay. Let's have a look at hour 24. My 24th hour, don't know if I've mentioned it before, 24 hours of training. Check it out. In case you hadn't noticed, this is my 24th hour. And we're just starting out here with some warm-ups for just trying to get past. So I have sped this up a little bit, if it does look a bit jittery. But Adam's job basically is to try and pass around to the side. He's going to want to take side control or even mount. And then my job is to get him into a half guard like that, or to get him into full guard. You'll see here I'm just trying to keep my feet connected to his legs there. So as he moves around, I'll move around with him. And one of my targets a few weeks back was to work on being a little bit more movable on my back. And I feel like I'm showing some progression in that. Defending it well. Okay, so my turn next, and we'll see the difference here in the way that the way that I use my legs to go either side of his. So you'll see that knee there comes across my own body to make it easier for me to get to the side. Whereas I think what Adam was doing, and there again, what Adam was doing was trying to put a knee through the middle of my legs as I lay on the ground. So Daniel here is just going to show him where he wants to have his feet positioned, really. And it's a good idea to have them on the hip, or at least connected some way to the body. And then using that knee the shin there as he's showing as a guard. That prevents me from getting down and taking side control. I then have to skip over that knee, and we'll see later on one way of doing that. Also, not to be afraid of taking the back of the head and pulling them down into your guard as well. So yeah, just some stuff to work on there. So we're just going to be recapping some stuff today. We're going to go through quite a few different things. The first one is just this guard escapes. So just going through how important it is to make sure you've got a base on either side, because without that base, as Daniel's done there, it'll be easy to rock that person over. So one leg in and one leg out to the side, and we're escaping with the opposite leg. So you can see his leg has come across his left leg has come across my left leg, and then his left foot is trapping my left leg onto the ground. So that's making it easier for him to get his second leg over. As you'll see now, he's coming right up and high up towards my arm, replacing that left leg under my shoulder, replacing that with my right leg, keeping my shoulder nice and high, and then securing that half guard. So me and Daniel in the top left corner there. First thing I do is break the guard, push the leg down, trap that leg, escape around. And then I just wanted to run through something. I tried this on Ollie the other week, and it didn't really work. So I was explaining how when I hop over the body and I come around, why am I not getting this submission? And Daniel rightfully pointed out there that if I just lower my hips, get my feet out from underneath me, then that tightens the choke. So again, pushing down on the leg, trapping it, coming around, getting under the shoulder with my knee, and I'm just going to go hop straight back over I quite enjoy that one as a submission now, especially now that I know what I'm doing. So they're using their shin to as a guard. So here's what you can do. Just sort of duke over it really, rolling around on top. You'll see me have a terrible attempt here at that. So Adam's going to bring his knee across, and then I'm going to very slowly and laboriously and clunkily wind around onto his into side control. And Daniel's just pointing out how it can go horribly wrong. So here you can get caught spinning around, and then they've got your back. Not a great position to be in. So next up, we were drilling some half guard escapes. So escaping that knee by laying down on my hip and then coming back over into mount. And Daniel's going to point out here that as I come onto my hip, I need to raise myself up higher to bring my hips higher up towards his armpit, and that automatically pops the knee out, unless of course they bring their half guard nice and high up into the mount there after. And then just Ollie being a bit mean with my camera for no reason whatsoever. So me and Daniel had a little practice just drilling those transitions, not necessarily thinking about the speed of them, but transitioning from that armbar to that triangle and then the omoplata, but actually just going through and talking while we're doing it the whole time about the technique of it. So making sure my hand is on the back of the head all the time. You can see his arm is across his face, that's where I want that. Holding onto my ankle instead of my toes when I'm pulling in the foot underneath the knee. So he defends that by slipping his arm around, and I'm going to come around for the omoplata, blocking the hip. As you can see there, he's trying to bump and roll over, and I'm blocking that with my arm, and then up and over once he's been flattened out. And then he's just going to demonstrate that how you can escape that just by rolling over, and then of course how you can defend it. So keeping the arm over, and then you can just sort of scooch around and flatten me out, and that makes it much more difficult. I can't roll over now, and he can apply the omoplata. So the first thing we were doing then was just some 50-50 rolling, so no, not 100%. If you feel like something's coming on, then do it. If you feel like you can defend it, then try it, but we're not rolling at 100%. And I've really enjoyed these. It gives you an opportunity to try out those moves that you've been working on that are a bit more difficult. So yeah, it's really good. So I pass the knee across the belly and into mount. Try and go for some sort of submission. Try and meet my hands together. And then he does a great job of rolling over, but I'll take that. Take him into my guard. I'm always quite comfortable on my back. And then just getting that arm bar. So he's gone for a pass. I've managed to come underneath it, take side control, and I'm lifting his arm up and out of the way so I can get my knee underneath his shoulder. And then try and pass by putting the knee across the belly. Doesn't work. And then what I've just been practicing with Daniel there. Now I'm at a sort of angle, I'm at a right angle to his body, and it doesn't really work, but as I move around on the other side of that fan, I can secure the submission. I've enjoyed rolling with Ollie of late. We go through a couple of little practices on a Thursday afternoon, normally just the two of us, and it's been pretty good. We recap what we've been learning on the weekends, and it's been really, really useful. I feel like we have a good sort of bit of to and fro whenever we're rolling. Here he's got me in mount and doing a good job of defending my legs, and then straightens me out there. Ugh, felt horrible. I do probably one of my best shrimps ever to escape from his mount and into my guard. So here he's escaped the wrong leg there, so we've been drilling the opposite leg to come across, and you can see there it was much easier for me to bounce him over. then he's got that shin as a shield across my torso. I'm going to push down his leg and escape both of mine. And then get under that elbow, which gets away from his knee. And then come around for a nice tight side control. And we've been drilling this the last couple of weeks, so making that little bit of space to get the knee in and take the guard. So next up then with Adam, almost sort of pensive. We spend a little bit of time just almost like feeling each other out. But again, we're not going 100% here, so Adam's trying to get around to the side. I'm using my ability to move around on my back and take him into my guard. I always feel comfortable there. Tried to go for a guillotine there. And he does a really good job of defending this. And finally he'll pop his head out. Posture's up, which is good. Drives the knees into the legs. Doesn't quite escape though, although I'll get him into half guard here. And then I'm just going through with him now, just taking a little time out to just go through what we've just been drilling. So putting his hip to the floor, pulling that knee out, and then popping that hip over onto the mat. And it's a good opportunity for me as well to escape a mount position as well. He's going to try and scoop both the legs there, which is dangerous for him because that means he's got one leg out, one arm out, which means I'm going to apply this triangle here. And we'll probably roll for about another minute and a half, just trying to secure that triangle. So we'll sort of just get dragged around the gym a little bit. I'll open it and I'll close it. I'll make sure I just keep his head in there. I'll put his arm across, he'll defend it. I haven't quite got my foot up high enough underneath my knee, so I can't necessarily apply it. And you'll see in a second here, he's secured both of his hands behind my back, which makes it difficult for me to get the choke on, even if I had that tight, the leg, my foot behind my knee tight anyway. So my job now is just to break him down, try and get his hands to break, stuff an arm across his face, and then I can make a little bit more space to get my foot higher. And then it's about working an angle there, and I just pull on the back of my foot, on my shin, sorry, to close the gap and get the choke. Head goes down there, so I'm going to take advantage of that, sort of feed it into my armpit really. And another quick submission there. So I think this is probably the start of our full rolling. So I'm going to roll with Daniel to start with, and straight away take side control. No, I don't think this was. Maybe this must be another 50-50 because it doesn't really seem to be trying too much. I'm based out there with my knee, my elbow, and I'm going to try and pass my knee into that small gap there and take mount, but unsuccessful. And he does a really good job of blocking my leg coming around and getting me into his guard. He's going to be attacking an arm, and I just foolishly let this happen. So he's just stuffed an arm there. I've managed to escape it, but then as we lose balance, I go to base outside. So I've tried to sit down here and pull away from his body. I don't want to be sort of up and over him. And I've done a good job there of preventing it. Now I've got an arm free, I'm trying to push my way out. And then I make the mistake of getting up onto my knees and coming right over the top of him, and that's a mistake. My arms across, the head comes down, and that's submission. It seems to me that whenever I get submitted afterwards, I start the next roll on my feet, maybe with a little knock and confidence, but not on my feet, sorry, on my bottom. There we go, there's the Duke. Managed to get all the way around without being caught. Happy with that, it's pretty cool. Cool to know. So now I'm in side control. Again, try and get that knee across the belly unsuccessfully. And again, it sort of looks like I almost let that happen, where he's created that space to get the knee across and take me into his guard. Again, attacking one of my arms. I'm going to try and control his arms there. It gives me an opportunity to posture up, work my way down to his hips, defend that triangle attempt. There comes the knee across the shin, and then the shin across the belly, and then a quick roll over. So a full roll with Ollie then. I'm going to try and control that ankle, come around to the side, get past the knee if I can, by blocking with my knee, and then he's done a very good job there, just trying to keep that knee up high and pushing me away with it as well. And I'm going to just use my arm there to scoop underneath his leg. Tried to roll over. I've got a nice tight side control now. See, he's almost lying on his right hand side, and that's a good side control. You want to have half their body off the ground, half them sort of resting on your knees. There's a guard pass there, so I've passed over onto, mount pass there. I've passed into mount, trapped my leg there unfortunately. So I'm going to fall back onto my own hip like we've drilled today. Try and use that foot to help escape. Unsuccessfully, get rolled over and into my happy place, I suppose, into guard. One arm goes in. I'm going to see here, I've got to try and hook his arm out now, because I'm going to want that arm across his face. He's trying to hold it back behind my neck, and once that's there, pull my ankle into behind my knee and then apply that triangle. Alright, so I'm not going to be doing any more for next week's anymore. I feel like I just repeat myself. I can't work on absolutely everything all of the time. I don't want to be putting stuff on there that's useless, but I do reflect on what I'm doing. It's just not necessarily that I'm going to be making a list of everything all the time. I'll always still have some of the same stuff to work on, but for now, a little trip home. Next week will be hour 25. See you then.